On this episode of The Loop Show Likes You,
empathy, cat toys, and cracking boards.
hang on for the loop!
3, 2, 1. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
I'm Ricky.
And I'm JUDO Bob.
JUDO Bob, this is your first Loop Show Likes You. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, straight out of the dojo and ready to go. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Ricky, but this show is all about the mail that we get from our Loop friends, right?
Yep, this episode belongs to the Loopsters.
Well, let's get into some postcards.
Well, before we do, let's get to know you a little bit better since
okay.
you are rarely here outside of the dojo.
Yeah, so I love YouTube, and I love watching fail videos.
Yeah.
And cat videos. Something about it just makes me chuckle for days.
What's your favorite cat video?
It's probably just a compilation of the ones that try to jump off of slippery surfaces and do the Superman.
With the full outstretched body, yes.
I
love
crack
that.
boards. Those videos crack my ribs because of how much I laugh.
What is your favorite food?
Probably bread, because I'm just a simple man with a simple taste.
Yeah.
So just give me a nice slice of bread and JUDO Bob's ready to go.
I think it's very appropriate that you like a food item that is typically broken. So that tracks.
Yeah, we break bread with the people that break boards, and that's how we do it in our dojo.
All right, let's get to some of these questions. Let's start with, this is great. We asked you to tell us something fun that we should know about you, and someone said, I love dino encyclopedias.
Oh, yeah, those are super fun. I don't like any other encyclopedias.
I didn't know that there were specific, like, dino encyclopedias. Like,
Only ones I collect.
wow, I've seen the ones that cover, like, I guess just the alphabet, like the alphabet set of encyclopedias, but none specific dinos. That's so great.
Oh, this is fun. None of your beeswax. Sometimes you just don't want people to know. You try to keep your life a secret. You know what, I admire that.
Yeah, there is a lot of mystery to JUDO Bob. Okay, so Cash wrote, I think bananas will destroy the world.
No, not on my watch. Okay, bananas or any type of other fruit or vegetable for that matter, JUDO Bob is here to save the day, okay? I eat bananas for breakfast, and that's actually true. I would smash them like the bananas they are.
Even like just the banana peel, like you...
I like to recycle, so I'd probably just recycle the peel.
Good.
Which I'd be saving the world even twice.
Wow.
Doing it that way.
Wow.
So, no need to fear. Okay, this one is from Lily. When I was 4, I cut about half of my hair off. You know what, Lily? This is a common problem.
Oh.
I did that once, and that's why my hair is so long. I won't cut it anymore.
Wow.
I made that.
So half in length or half like...
Oh.
Like on the center axis, like left or right?
I love I hope it was the latter because I did this way. I should have done this way.
See, yeah, that's a statement. And
That is a statement, and it states you're cool.
Yeah. I wonder if it would make part of your head heavier on either side. What matters to you matters to us.
Which leads us to this reminder from our great friend Leslie. Check it out.
Is this thing recording? Hey, what's up, Loop? It's Leslie, and today we are talking about empathy. You've probably heard the word empathy before, like someone has probably said, hey, you should be more empathetic or show a little empathy. And listen, empathy and sympathy are not the same thing. For instance, if you had the thought, dang, I feel sorry for her, she has to record this whole thing with a pimple on her face, well, that's sympathy if you feel sorry for me. Empathy would say like, I'm gonna ignore it and just pay attention because that's what she would want me to do. No, but for real though. Empathy is more mature than sympathy. Empathy is when we take the time to truly feel what someone else is feeling and like sharing that feeling together. Okay, so I know I made a joke about having empathy for the pimple on my face. That was just kidding. But there are times when you really should have empathy. For example, if your friend loses their championship soccer game, you know it was a big deal to them and you're like, I don't know what to say. Or maybe one of your friends is embarrassed at school in front of everyone and you know that like it's your friend, you want to do something for them, but you don't know like how to respond. Or maybe your parents are frustrated because of a death of a family friend or someone in your family. And again, you're like, I don't know how I'm supposed to respond to this. All three of those are times when you can practice empathy. So let's talk about it a little more. All right, 4 steps to having empathy. Ready? Number 1, wear their perspective. Try to understand what it feels like to walk a mile in their shoes in that moment. Number 2, relax with the judgment. Yes, relax with the judgment. Now is not the time to say, yeah, well, at least, why are you acting like that? Dude, chill, it's just a game. No, because all of those phrases disconnect you from that person. Empathy is about connecting. This is a great time to say like, hey, yeah, I know how that feels. Speaking of feelings, step 3, recognize their emotion. And you get it, you know basic emotions. You know when someone's happy or sad or mad or whatever, you can figure that out. And then step 4, don't try to fix it. Just listen and sit and be with them. Like, it's really hard sometimes in those bigger situations that life throws at you. But you can always say, hey, I don't really know what to say, but you're not alone and I'm here with you. All right, so remember that empathy is not about having the perfect thing to say. It's also not about feeling sorry for people. Empathy is about connecting with people. It's about connecting with them and reminding them that they are not alone. So as you grow in your maturity, you'll start to recognize more and more times that you can have empathy. You'll get better at seeing like, this is a great time to be silly. And you'll get better at seeing like, hey, I can probably just chill for a minute and just be with my friend and let them be more important than me for a change. So start putting other people's feelings before yours and see how all of your friendships will grow.
Empathy is so important.
It's so important, and it's very hard to learn, but it's so worth it. So what do we do now, Ricky? Do I like break this wheel thing, or do
No, we spin it, and then we try one of the challenges that was submitted.
Oh, like judo challenges.
I mean, you never know. It is the Loop Show.
Let's spin it and find out. That wasn't much of a chop, but let's see what we got here. Okay, play with cat toys.
Oh.
All right.
Oh. All right.
Oh, boy.
Oh, and we have cat ears? Okay.
You know what? This looks like some sort of butterfly. There's a button. Oh my goodness.
Whoa.
What?
Get it. Catch it. Oh, it's taunting you. Oh.
Got it.
You won the cat
I think
toy.
that's what you're supposed to do, Ricky.
Yeah. Oh, okay. It's like a little tunnel thing. All right. We start.
Yeah, you're almost there, Ricky.
Okay.
We need a bigger cat tunnel for a cat,
I just need
Ricky.
to dislocate my shoulder. Because cats are notoriously very nimble, so
They are.
This is fun, but it's also like an exercise. Well, I think this is leopard, cheetah.
Leopard print, just like my ear. You just snap. Yeah.
Okay. This one, I think you're just supposed to knock it over. So, oh wait.
I got one like, except it doesn't come with a ball. It's just 2 different mice. Mousin.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I give it a solid 5 out of 5. Super fun. It's not quite as fun as breaking boards, but what is? I kind of wish I was a cat to have such cool toys.
Right.
Especially this guy. I feel like this guy could be a really good karate, like teaching toy of some kind.
Yeah, cats are the karate masters of the wild.
That's you've been to my dojo, I see.
Yeah, that's what's on the wall.
Yeah. Thank you for sending your suggestions.
Yes,
guys.
thank you.
So, what do we do? What do we do now, Ricky? What's the game plan?
Well, now we answer some big questions. Ooh, thank you.
Nice ears.
Thanks. Who created God?
Whoa, that's a big question.
Yeah, several of you wrote in a question similar to this, and it's a tough one, but Allie is gonna help us out.
Hey friends, so a lot of you guys had a great question. Who created God? Or maybe you've asked it like, who made God, or how was God created? So let's ask our friends at Bible Project for some help.
The claim in the Bible is that God is transcendent, a divine being through whom we live and move and have our being. Or, as God says, I am.
Okay, but I live here in this universe, so when God appears, it will make sense in some ways, but in other ways, it will break my categories.
Exactly. This happens all the time when people encounter the God of the Bible. So let's look first at how this happens in the Hebrew Scriptures. Throughout the Hebrew Scriptures, God appears in complicated ways that don't quite fit our categories. One common way this happens is with God's attributes.
So an attribute is a way to describe what something is like. For example, a soccer ball is round.
Right.
Or God is wise.
Yeah, great. Let's take God's wisdom. So the book of Proverbs says that God created the world by his wisdom. But then there are also poems in the book of Proverbs that describe God's wisdom as a person, a co-worker through whom God architected the universe.
So God's attribute becomes a separate character?
Yeah, this also happens with God's glory, which sometimes appears as a human figure on a throne that's engulfed in fire. Or take God's word, which he can speak to people, but sometimes his word appears like a person.
Wait, so God's attributes have become new little gods?
No, the biblical authors believe there's only one all-powerful God.
But they're comfortable talking about them as different characters.
Yeah, this is part of the way that the biblical authors portray the one God's complex identity. They're God's attributes, and also distinct from God.
Distinct from God, and also God.
Yes. Once we learn to spot that way of talking about God's identity, you begin to see it all over the scriptures. In fact, you find it in the first sentences of the Bible that mention the Spirit of God. So the opening line of the Bible is pretty familiar.
In the beginning, God created.
So God breaks our categories. Like pretty much everything about God is like the exploding head emoji. It's just kind of like, but that's a really good thing because there's so many things about God that we don't understand. And that's part of why we can worship him. So when we ask questions like, who created God? We're trying to put God in our human brains and our human boxes. And it's just not really gonna work because God is so much bigger than that. So when I think about things that have kind of broken my brain a little bit, I think about math class, specifically middle school math with Mrs. Missy. Yes, my teacher's name is Mrs. Missy. It's kind of weird, but she's great. Anyways, one day we learned about pi, and not like the pie that you eat, but like pi, like P-I, like math pi, which is crazy to me because like in a big circle and a tiny circle, it's always the same pi. Just weird, okay? But anyways, then we learned about how pi is an infinite number, okay? So it's 3.14. That's not it, man. If you look at YouTube, there's people that are going through pi for hours. It's like you guys got a lot of time on your hands, but it's 3.14159, and then it just goes on to infinity, which is a bad infinity sign. It's fine, guys. But infinity, okay, and when I think of infinity, I would think about like Buzz Lightyear, like to infinity and beyond. But it's like a real thing in math. In fact, if you want to build your math confidence, just ask anybody, what's infinity plus 1 or plus 1,000,000 or plus anything? The answer is always infinity, which is so weird, right? But you can't add anything to something that already exists forever. It is weird, man, math. So I say all of that to say that infinity can be an answer even if we don't fully understand it. And in the same way, God is still the answer even if we don't understand everything about him. Or in other words, we don't have to understand him completely to believe in him fully. And now, don't get me wrong, like it's not just blind faith. There are so many evidence-based reasons to believe in God. There's scientists and mathematicians and all these really smart people with great arguments about why we can believe in God. But we're not always going to get a really clear answer to every one of our questions because God just breaks our categories and he's so much bigger than that. But it's okay for us to ask these questions. In fact, that's part of how we get to know him. The Bible tells us that God is a divine mystery, and so every day we get to uncover a little bit more about him and who he is. Like just think about if you met somebody and you want to be friends with them, but you knew every single thing that you would ever need to know about this person. You'd kind of be like, well, I guess we don't really need to hang out because I already know everything about you. But with God, we get to know more about him every single day, and that's part of the point. We're also not the first people to ever ask these big questions either. In fact, Isaiah 40 has a whole chapter talking about how God created the world. And in verses 13 through 14, there's similar questions. It says, who can ever understand the Spirit of the Lord? Who could ever give him advice? Did the Lord have to ask anyone to help him understand? Did he have to ask someone to teach him the right way? Who taught him what he knows? Who showed him how to understand? So again, similar questions. Who created God? How did God know how to create the world? But then it goes on in verse 26 and it says, look up toward the sky. Who created everything you see? The Lord causes the stars to come out at night, one by one. He calls each one of them by name. His power and his strength are great, so none of the stars are missing. And so who created God? Well, Nobody. God is the creator. He has no beginning because he is the beginning. And it's kind of hard for our human brains to understand, but God breaks our categories. And so it may kind of break our brain a little bit, but it doesn't break our faith because we know that God is this creator. And so when I think about the stars, like I've never been on a rocket ship and like seen a star up close, but I've seen the light in the world. And it's the same way with God. I've never seen him, but I've seen his light in the world. I've seen him through answered prayers. I've been really stressed out and asked God to give me peace, and I've felt that peace. I've been really lonely and I've asked God for a friend and somebody has come along. I've seen him through all of those details, and I see him when I go outside and I see the world around me, and I see the fact that these butterflies have these intricate designs on them. Like, it could have just made them all blue and it would have been fine. But the fact that we see these special details all around us shows us that God is this creator who cares about every single one of those details. And not only did he create the stars and the world and those butterflies and literally everything, but he created you, and he knows your name and the number of hairs on your head. And so he takes care of the stars and he takes care of you. And so nobody created God. He is the creator who loves us and who takes care of everything. And that is a pretty amazing thing. And that's why we get to worship him.
Whoa, that is a lot to think about. My brain actually kind of hurts.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me want to go out to a field and just look at the stars and just marvel at the wonderful universe that God created.
That's a great idea. Okay, this week, what is one way you can admire God's creation?
Camping trip. It's happening. So thank you for your big questions. Keep asking them and we will keep doing our best to answer them.
If you'd like to send us mail, check out the description in the video.
Or, okay, so what you need to do is you need to find a lawn. It doesn't have to be your own. In fact, it's probably best if it's your neighbor's. You need to cut the lawn and then just leave a little patch of grass that has a question that you would like to send to us.
Feel free to pick up a cat from your local pet store. Tie a message of your choice to it and just send it out. It'll know where to go. It's kind of like those pigeons that you read about.
Yeah, cat pigeons.
A cat pigeon is technically, the technical name for it.
Yeah, eat like 76 bananas in one sitting, and then take the banana peels, write out a letter and a message, and just take a picture of it, and then put that picture in the mail.
I would also eat as many bananas as possible just in case they try to take over the world.
Right,
So
yeah.
just to throw that back. And then recycle the banana peels because that's important. Save the world twice. Never remember that. Ricky, thank you so much for having me as a guest host. This has been so tubular.
Thank you. Stop by anytime.
And feel free to stop by the dojo. We would love to have you. I know you have these secret moves, these banana breaking moves.
Stop it.
That the Padawans would love to learn.
Well, thank you. The Luke Show likes you.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Until next time,
Enjoy the ride.
If you want some more Luke Show likes you, make sure you subscribe. And seriously, write us a letter. Pick a method.
Come here, butterfly.
And do it. Oh, I've lost balance. Okay. And now,
It was a high kick. Oh, wow.
I'm gonna get the other leg in.
Stretch before. That is dojo umero numo.